Hello, Robbie Straker, and I'm happy to tell you the story about how I got into the free satellite TV hobby. And I've coined the term free satellite TV. Now, there's been other terms for what this is about. Some people have called it, in the early days, it was called TVRO for the big C-band satellite dishes to get the channels for free. Later on, maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s, they started the term free-to-air satellite, but free-to-air became a very confused term between piracy and what was actually legitimate free-to-air. So I've come up with the term free satellite TV, meaning the free channels that are in the air that are unencrypted, that are free for anyone to watch without having to do anything illegal, right? So free satellite TV has been a hobby. Getting free channels on a satellite dish has been a hobby for me for quite a few years, over a decade now. I think I started probably around 2007, 2008 is when I really got into the hobby. But before that, I grew up with cable and was... we used to get like about maybe 40 to 50, 60 channels on cable, and back in those days there was always shows that I'd like to get that were beyond that people could get who had the large C-band satellite dishes. So I always wanted to have one of them, but was not able to at my parents, and then in my 20s living in apartments that wouldn't allow that sort of thing. So when I bought my first home, I made sure I had a south facing, with the sun shining in my face here, backyard, so that I can put this big boy, this, well, actually it was first the one that I bought off of Kijiji, which would be known as Black Beauty. And so to do that, now before that I was living in an apartment, and I had one of these, my CubeSat, you don't see in the frame, but it's kind of like my 36-inch dish. This one's a 4-footer, but my 36-inch dish, and I had that on the balcony. Now, apartment buildings did not want people to put satellite dishes on their balcony or install them on the buildings. They wanted you to get cable. They wanted you to get Cogeco in my area. They didn't want people installing these dishes. But I mean, with a tripod, I was able to feed it through the air conditioner, where the air conditioner opening would be, and run it into my apartment. And I was able to watch, I think I was able to get about 83 West all the way to, I was able to get PBS channels on my balcony with my motorized satellite dish on my balcony, because I had an east facing window. Now, when I first got in the hobby, there was, that was in 2007, 2008. There was, so I didn't know much at the time. A lot of people were talking about it, but they weren't doing necessarily the most ethical way of doing it. I started with what would be known as one of these circular. This one's in Canada, we have Bell. And with one of those and a free-to-air receiver, you could get a few channels back in those days, but everything is pretty much encrypted that are on the subscription services satellites. So I'm not promoting that at all. I'm not promoting piracy or anything like that. What I'm promoting is the free satellite TV, which means the free in the clear channels. So with a circular dish, because this is a question I get asked all the time, can I use my Dish Network or DirecTV dish? And it's one of those things that it's always a hard answer. I have a whole video on that, and I'll have it in the description of this video going over that. But what I highly recommend, save you a lot of headaches, because the free satellite TV KU band signals on a smaller dish, you can use a dish like this in Canada, which is a Shot Direct dish. You can use these, and you can get pretty much most of the channels that are on free to air with one of these. Now, if you're in the United States, if you can pick up one of those secondhand Orbi TV satellite dishes, they're a little bit larger than the DirecTV or the Dish Network. You can get free satellite TV channels with those as well. So anyway, I started in this hobby, and when I finally found out that I could use this type of dish, which is very easy to find them in a dumpster or just get them secondhand here in Canada, these Shaw Direct dishes, I got a few of them, maybe $5 a piece or whatever. Sometimes you can get them for free. When people move and they don't want to have Shaw Direct anymore, you can use these for free satellite TV. I have this one pointed at Galaxy 19 and at 103 because there's two LNBs, I got Galaxy 19 and 101 West. There's not a whole lot of channels on 101 West, but if there ever was channels on it, I could get two satellites on the one satellite dish with this one. Now, to get I have a 4-footer, mainly to get those weaker KU band signals with my 4-foot dish that I can't get. But what I've discovered is if you use U-cells and if you have a 36-inch dish aligned the best, I would say almost perfectly, you will be able to get, I'm finding I can get those weaker KU band signals with my 36-inch dish. So I played around with all this stuff, and it's great. I mean, I grew up with over-the-air TV. I think everyone may have had that at one point, where you had a TV set in a room where the cable wasn't going to, or you're in the country or someplace where there wasn't cable. You can put an aerial up and get a couple channels, your local channels or whatever. So with this hobby, I find it's a real money saver. I mean, cable, people pay $100, $200 a month for cable. I haven't done that in years. I had cable years ago when it was like a deal for $20 a month, and it was giving me quite a lot of TV channels on top of what my internet was. But then they raised it, and I said, that's it for cable, and I've never looked back. I have this stuff. You want to have internet for streaming stuff like on this YouTube channel, for great stuff like this. But when it comes to actually paying for TV channels, and let me put it this way, cable TV channels are channels with commercials. They're still ads. So you're paying to watch ads on TLC, on CNN, on Fox, on all these cable networks. You're still paying to watch ads. You're paying for the content, but you're also getting ads. So, and you're paying like $200 a month for that. So bear that in mind when you're paying for cable. So with this, I want to state that you do not get the channels that you do get with cable. You're not going to get all those channels, especially with free satellite TV, where all the channels that are open and in the clear. Now there is channels like on my large dish, I'm able to pick up 101 West, which has a whole lot of these digital subchannels. So if you watch TV with an antenna, you might notice that with nowadays you can get TV. You have an antenna and you can get 40 channels, sometimes more than 40 channels. Some areas get over 100 channels just with an antenna, because they're able to put channels, multiplex, multi-broadcast. There's so many words for this terminologies. They're not really standardized, but I call them diginets. Is what I like to refer them as. So these digital subchannels. These digital subchannels, for example, there's one channel that will have like 7 subchannels, and it might have a channel like Grit, which shows old westerns and stuff like that. It might be a channel. It might have retro TV. It might have Me TV. It may have Antenna TV. It may have Rewind TV, and all these shows that show old sitcoms, if you like that stuff. I find that's a nice nostalgia break from things these days. It's nice to sit back and watch some of that stuff. So that's a great element to what is on C-band. There's a whole lot of the digital sub-channels. Now for movies, there's a couple channels that do have movies, but I would say they're movies from the era past era. I would say there's like This TV, which shows a lot of movies from the 80s. There's Movies on 101 West, which shows a lot of old classic, a lot of black and white movies. There's stuff like that is free, and they're great. And there's Positive TV, the TBN Christian movie channel. There's channels like that on satellite that you can get. But I'm not really trying to sell this in this video. I'm just trying to talk about how I got into this hobby. Now, do I use this day to day? I do. I use it a lot for news. They just recently added a new channel called Newsmax to KU band, so I'm able to get that with a smaller dish, which is great. There's definitely with KU band, the smaller dish. I don't know if I said this before, but there's C-band, which is the large dish. You'll need a large C-band satellite dish to pick up a lot of the C-band channels, and that's the one thing about this hobby that people hear about. There's going to be free channels, but the kicker or the catch is, you're going to need one of these large C-band satellite dishes. And not everyone wants to do that, and I totally understand that. But if you're able to, you're in an area where you're able to do that. This is where the hobby, it's quite popular. A lot of people have those dishes in their yard for years and never use them. And they don't even realize that there's like hundreds of channels that they can get on one of these C-band dishes. Now with KU band, I'm going to point to the Shaw Direct dish, which I use for KU band. you can get quite a few channels, probably a few hundred channels, but they are, what people poo-poo on is because they're international and religious channels. Now there is NBC and Cozy TV, there's Newsmax, there's a bunch of news channels, there's oh, what was the other channel there? GCTV, there's, what's that, Russia Today. So channels like that, international news channels, there's lots of news feeds on 99 West, and at 87 West there's a ton of news feeds. So yeah, I got into that, and that's a big thing I'm really into, is following what's going on in the world. So I use it for that, and that's what got me into this. And with using all this stuff, all these dishes, I still watch TV with an antenna, because there is several channels that I can get on antenna that I don't get on satellite, but then there's a lot of channels that are on satellite that I don't get with antenna. So in my home, I have the satellite receiver and I have the TV antenna hooked up to the TV, and I'm getting a ton of content. I mean, I think the thing about that is I'm getting so much content. I'm probably getting just as many channels that you would get on cable. I'm just not getting the same channels that are on cable. So, and I'm not watching TV 24/7. I'm just watching TV for the few hours in my week to watch TV. So it's nice to have this and not be bombarded with the monthly fees when I'm only watching TV for a little bit. And my kids, they're of this new generation where they have a smart Roku TV. They know how to get on YouTube and watch Cocomelon and Mr. Bean and stuff like that. So there's no need for cable that way either, because there's a ton of good content on YouTube. I mean, I could be just with YouTube alone and I'd be happy, or with other streaming sites like Rumble or something like that. So yeah, I mean, what interested me about this technology is when I was a kid, I was born in the 70s. So grew up with the Star Wars era, and it looked like, you know, you'd look at the roof of the Millennium Falcon and it had like this big radar dish. So I wanted to have one of these things and be able to get TV for free. So it's been great. I mean, I'm very happy with the hobby. It's definitely a hobby of you have to be a little bit tech savvy. Now, you don't have to be tech savvy if you know someone who is tech savvy who can set you up with this. But it's definitely not something you could just it's not like I'd say it's not a service like cable where you can get a technician that will help you. You have to know how to do this yourself. I've done several videos on my channel, step by step. I have a step-by-step playlist that you can click on to watch and learn more about this information. And it's great free information. I mean, I wish more people knew about it and knew what channels were available, so they can make their own decision if they would want to go this route, go with streaming or go with cable. Now, where I find this has an advantage over streaming, if we were to have an internet outage, a power outage, because I have a backup power system, I could watch TV with the power's out. So it's kind of cool that way. But then the router might not be powered, and the lines might not be powered. So I can kind of stay informed or watch TV while that's not working. Now, in my area, it doesn't happen very often. It does happen from time to time. I'm on cable internet. I know that's cable, but it's actually, I'm using start.ca, which uses the cable company, and actually it's cheaper than what cable charges. So it's a great deal. I have a video about start.ca. Check it out if you're in Canada. So yeah, I've done a video about what the channels are available, and Them a video about what channels are available on C-band and on KU band, and I've done videos on setting these things up. So if they're helpful to you, please check them out, click on it, and check out this channel. Please subscribe. I think you'll find a lot of information about this stuff. So it's been an awesome hobby. I mean, it's something I'm not even overly playing with right now. I definitely want to get another a dish like this Shaw Direct dish, and get it aimed at 103 West, because there's a whole whack of channels coming there. There seems to be more and more channels that are really good on 103 West these days on KU band. So I'm glad to see that. There's Loop TV, which shows old music videos, which is awesome. So there's definitely the comparison. What I get people saying to me a lot is it was so much better in the 80s with satellite, because I got all the movies and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but the movies were better in the 80s in my opinion, compared to today, where they're maybe not as good as what they used to be. But there is channels like this TV that show a lot of the movies from the 80s, so and movies and stuff like that. So So it's definitely a hobby. It's cost me. So you got to buy the equipment, and that used to be the argument about satellite TV versus cable. Back in the old days, back in the 80s, back in the 90s, the equipment would cost thousands of dollars. The receiver could be $800, $900 for the receiver, sometimes over $1,000 for an MACOM receiver. Nowadays, a receiver there's an Amiko Mini, which is $89 compared to $800 or $1,000, $1,200 or whatever they were back in the 80s. So that's the cost of doing this is a lot cheaper. It's basically one or two months of our premium cable bill to buy all the equipment that you would need. There's coax cable. There's if you're getting a C-band dish, you need like a dish mover, which is like $100. You need an actuator that works. Those things can be like $100, $200. And we're in a time right now where the inflation or just the supply demand has made a lot of the prices on eBay go up. But check out eBay. I will have a link in the description of this video with a bunch of links or a bunch of links to eBay products that will help you get into this hobby for the right type of things to do, especially the dish. If you're going to buy a dish. So how I found out about this stuff, just to get back into that and the topic of this video, I found forums online. I think back in the day, I was using a forum that's no longer around called Fridge FTA, and it was a lot of use. It was a smaller form of I would say the two other forums, but it was, I guess, easier to communicate with people. And I also have used Rick's Wild Feeds backhaul forum. You can do a Google search for Rick's Wild Feeds, and he'll come up, and there's a lot of good information there. There's a Satellite Guys forum. So those are like 3 forums where I went to, and I just read through all the threads and sort of picked out little nuggets of information out of that, how to get going. And so as I moved on, I got more into buying it. So I started with a KU band dish. Actually, I started with an old Bell dish, and I found out that there wasn't a whole lot of channels I can get with that. So I got the when I went back to the place that was selling the dishes, they sold me the 36-inch dish. So I got that, and I found there was a whole whack of channels I can get on Galaxy 19. And at the time, we used to get retro TV on 83 West, and there probably was a few more channels on 97 West. And then some over the years, because streaming became much more cheaper than using satellite, which is like $5,000 a month to $30,000 a month, depending on how much quality broadcaster wants to put into that channel, how much bitrate quality. So I got into that, and then definitely within the last 10 years on the KU band side, I did see a lot of channels go away on the KU band side. But C band, because the broadcast industry tends to like the fact that it doesn't have a rain fade, they feel it's more of a reliable service. There still is a lot of the backhauls for broadcast feeds on C band, and they're in the clear, and you can tune into them and watch all these free channels, which is great. I mean, not a whole lot of people know about it, but it's great to know for me to be able to watch all this stuff. That's kind of my story about how I got into this. I was always interested in it, and I finally found a store in Ottawa that had free-to-air satellite stuff. They had the free-to-air satellite receivers, so I picked one up there. It was quite popular in the early between 2005 2008. It was very popular, and then streaming boxes kind of came along, and those stores usually sell streaming Android boxes now. Yeah, so I got into that through going to a store. I did see a lot of the stuff online, but then when you look online, where do you start, right? Anyway, you can start here at my channel. You can ask me, you can PM me on my Facebook or on my Discord, or on I'm on MeWe, which is a social media thingy. If you look at my link tree on this video, you'll find out how to contact me. You can email me, and I can send you off some information. But I got a ton of stuff over at freesatellitetv.net. It's definitely a good place to check out, because I'll have a list of what to buy there and stuff like that. If you're into this hobby, please write in the comments if you've been in this hobby for a long time. Tell me how long you've been in the hobby. How did you get into the hobby? I meet a lot of people that were into the hobby years ago and then got out of it, and then they don't think that there's any channels available, And then when they see that I do a scan and there's a ton of channels that are still on satellite, they're quite surprised. So yeah, let me know how you got into free satellite TV, TVRO, whatever you like to call it. I call it free satellite TV because of what I'm doing in this video. And there's my neighbor with his chainsaw, and he's chopping down some trees so he can get free satellite TV. When you have trees, remember, chainsaw. Chainsaw will fix you up real good. All right, so thanks for watching. This is my favorite topic to talk about, and thanks for watching. If you gotten this far of the video for my little chat about satellite, please subscribe and give this video a like.
TV.net. And also check out the new shop where you can order free satellite TV, LNBs, receivers, and dishes, all sorts of things for your free-to-air needs over at the freesatellitetv.net shop.
So check out some of my other videos where I've discussed all the satellite channels that are available. And also check out linksat.com and also tvrosat.com for any updates of the North American satellites. And also check out my Facebook group, which is over the North American free-to-air group over on Facebook. You can check out my website, which is freesatellitetv.net, and get connected through that as well.
And if you'd like to donate myself and my channel for the work that I do, you can do it at Patreon, or just click on the link for PayPal donate and enter like $1 million right there into the donation thing there, and I'd be very happy to accept that to continue working on videos. If you would like to buy one of the Amiko satellite receivers, there'll be an eBay link in the description of this video where you can find that. And also, if you'd like to follow my work, click on the bell notification so that you'll be notified when my latest videos are being uploaded.